Okay, so now we're going to start getting into more specific examination of different disorders. And the first thing we have to know before we get into like things like what is bipolar disorder or what are anxiety disorders, what is PTSD, we have to start out with where would I actually go to find this out? And the truth is the most important book is the DSM-5, and you can see that book in the top right-hand corner. So the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5, is created by the American Psychiatric Association Handbook for the Identification and Classification of Behavioral Abnormalities. So almost every psychologist, psychiatrist has a DSM-5 in the office. I think they're online as well. They're extremely important, and they need to be updated regularly. So they probably should buy a new one every year. If they even have one that's 5 years old, some of the symptoms and some of the diagnoses could be changed. So that's the DSM-5. So that's the book that will come out, and they'll try to look at if somebody has these symptoms or they match these orders. Now let's look at bipolar disorder to see. So if we're using DSM-5, some of the big ideas behind a bipolar, not all, disorder is as the name suggests, involves the movement of two poles. So you have depressive states where people are on one hand, they're down, they're sad, they can't get out of bed, they don't want to live, the world is coming to an end, they sound very toxic. And then on the other side, you have the manic state, which is the complete opposite, where they're up, they're lively, they're friendly, they're over the top friendly, and they're so wound up sometimes they can't go to bed till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. They're cleaning, they're doing all kinds of things, and you just like, oh wow, that's just an intense person. It might not be. There could be an actual mental health disorder called bipolar disorder, which many times is genetic, and there is some environmental causes too, like that could cause it, such as not getting enough sleep could lead to bipolar disorder and mental health issues. Because manic states are often have features, psychotic features, bipolar disorders can be a bridge of psychosis and major depressive disorders. So they can actually get worse, and they can get more devastating, and they can impact a person's life and hurt their relationships with others. However, they're also very, with supports, they can be very tameable. So, for example, if most people are genetically bipolar and you have a history with your father or mother or bipolar or grandparents, what they can do is that once they diagnose, they can go to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist can actually prescribe medication, and with counseling and supports, the person can do pretty well. Again, here's the thing with medication and psychological medication. It is very, very important that the people that are on the medicine do it and take it at about the same time every day. You can only not take your medication within a 1 hour window. So if you take your medicine at 7 o'clock in the morning, you could take it as early as 6 and as late as 8. And if you take it at 7 o'clock at night, you could take it as early as 6 and as late as 8. You have to take your medication on time and every day. Now, even while you're taking your medication, if it has something to do with the mind and usually works with the brain, the general rule is about 40 days. It's not going to take full effect for 40 days. So that's why a lot of people get impatient, or they say, this medicine doesn't work. And I'm like, how long have you been taking it? I've been taking it for 2 weeks. Well, you got to take it for 40 days before we know. And then if it's not working, instead of stopping it, what you should do is talk to your doctor, your psychiatrist, and they will say, hey, let's stop this, or maybe the dosage is too high, maybe the dosage is too low. There has to be adjustments made. But when people stop medications and they do things like on their own, they think they're doing better than a psychiatrist. They aren't. They're not a psychiatrist. It's very hard to be a psychiatrist, and it's a lot of research and work. So please, please follow the directions of professionals and support people to do what the professionals ask. All right, so let's look more. We looked at an example. We're going to listen to this in class of an example of a woman that grows up. She deals with her grandmother's manic depressant or has bipolar disorder. Now we're going to talk about the differences. What are the differences between delusions and hallucinations? So a delusion, on one side of it, is somebody's delusional is their beliefs that are not based in reality, such as they think they could fly, or they're the president of the country. I've seen this. Being pursued by the CIA, or the FBI is always watching me. Where? At the store, they're watching me. Okay. While all these are possible except for flying, you will know if you're the president of the United States. And if the CIA or FBI is that interested in you, they'd probably have to have real reasons. But a lot of these people think they got on the internet, they did something, then the CIA or the FBI is after them. And while it's a possibility, it's not very realistic that they're being hunted down by the government. But the government's always a they. Instead of seeing the government as millions of people that work together to rule the country, they see it as one thing, like one big group, which they're not. I'm a public school teacher. I'm a part of the government. So that's delusions. You have other types of delusions. We're not going to get into all those, but you have delusions of grandeur, which is you could see the guy who's like looking in the mirror and he sees himself as Superman. Like, I'm the best. They always describe themselves as the best. If you have delusions of grandeur, you're the best, or you're the best, you're a winner. Some people have applied this stuff. Psychologists have tried to apply this to celebrities or like Donald Trump's. And some of these people say, oh, I'm the best. I'm always the best. I'm the best. Well, that might not be accurate. And that can be a delusion. Now, hallucination is very different. Hallucinations are perceptions that are not based in reality, such as seeing things or hearing voices that are not there. Feeling spiders crawling up your skin. Or I've seen people talking to the vent. They think that there's a demon or God's talking to them or some kind of spirit or something's talking to them. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? You can't hear that? That's hallucinations. It can be auditory. You're hearing it. You see things like you see spirits or gods or something coming in. That can be a hallucination. So you want to think about that. Or if you feel animals on top of you, that would be a hallucination. All right?